Hello everyone. Sorry I'm a little bit delayed. I was just sending out the links so everyone can know I'm live. We're here. We are here. Boom. How we doing everyone? How we doing? Let's get to the big camera at the start of the stream. Welcome everyone. It's going to be a nice stream today. We've got obviously some PvP we're going to try and do. And then obviously before we do the PvP, I'm going to try and capture some war pets. We're going to just talk like anything, like we always do, and if you guys got any questions during the stream, pop them in chat, don't worry about it, and we'll answer them as we go through. So let's get into it. This is our obviously main account. As you can see, we've been healing our troops. We're almost there. I'm actually needing to start healing these calves because I kind of want to start using the calves again. So we did have a 1.5 million hospital, and now even while PvPing slowly throughout the day, we're hit over 3 million. And we can show you as well the map development. Map has developed a lot. So we are still technically here, but I've got some stuff to show you there. But as you can see more on the right side, I'm going to cover this in another video soon. You can actually see we have pushed these guys almost out. So TA destroying this flag and almost getting these guys back to their pass. How you doing, Kameen? How you doing, Bear, as well? I haven't missed you all out. Welcome, welcome. But we have now at the top side Vape. So Vape is basically holding out against TR. So you can see there is a nice little fight happening here, where TR and TA obviously union together trying to push through the Vape line here. So that's what's going on this side of the map. It's actually really cool to see it constantly going. Our side, as you can see, has kind of developed into a craziness. So yeah, if we look on the screen, before we had 3 keeps. There was 1 keep here, 1 keep here, and then another keep here. These were the actual 3 keeps they had. Oh no, this one. It was this one, and this one. These are the 3 keeps they had, if you remember, in the earlier streams. But now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those bad boys. So we've got 8 keeps all built up by the RKO, Howl, and the what about Lions? I think it's just actually those 2. I might be just lying to myself, which is kind of crazy. So there's a lot to punch through, guys, if we're going to try and get through this. But we've got the 1 keep here, plenty of barricades to cover us. And as you can see, we've got nice control still of the whole Frost Dragon. We've got Roots of War as well coming up. So once I've basically done today, once we've done all the PvP and everything that we've got planned for the stream, then I will be teleporting out to a safe location because I need to leave the Alliance. We need to join TMO2 so we can then partake in the Roots of War. And you know what? We can probably stay in the TMO2 Alliance because they are located in this region here. So we'll see what is gonna occur during that time. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys enjoy the stream. Remember, if you want to support me, a nice, easy press of the like button is the easiest way of showcasing the YouTube monkeys in the background that everyone loves the stream. How you doing, Clash Royale Mark? How you doing, dude? So what we're gonna do quickly is, as this guy's doing, we are going to quickly look for 5 pets nearby. I'm going to try and capture anything but this Thunder Lizard, realistically. So we are going to just have a quick gander around, and then we're going to jump into the PvP. We don't have to worry too much about PvP placement, because as I move my guys into position, we already have our guy in the keep, right? So we're all good. We can always be in action. So if anyone starts to be a little bit tasty, you know, if someone feels like they can push forward, we're gonna obviously jump out of the keep and help out. So I don't know what the state is right now. I'm not gonna lie, for the last couple of days, it's been a little bit stale. We're at a stalemate here, and it's just about trying to beat each other's troop count. But I said that, you know, you've got the TA guys here and the TR all pushing through. So what is the best pet for mages, or the best pet for mages? Do you know what's funny? I've actually just made a new video that's going to come out next week to do with all the pets and what I think you should put in which pet with which march. So if you're playing archers, mages, infantry, cavalry, I've got you covered. One, I will tell you straight away, if you're looking for one pet, and this is one we've already suggested in the guide, and he's on screen right now in the middle, is the ice lizard. So if you're looking for a really good mage one, I honestly think one of the best ones to have for mage is trying to get a 1-star ice core and use an ice lizard, because it deals a nice amount of damage. It also does a 15% march speed slow, which is really nice. And then on top of it, you can get like split ice core, so you can basically hit multiple marches and get that nasty slow on top of them all, right? So it's a really good PvP based pet. So there's a little hint there. Are you doing TN? You can already, yeah, if you want to join a project, you can. We've got plenty of spots. We've technically got 5 spots open, because I knew people would still want to join closer to the date. And you got to remember, guys, as soon as we launch the new account and the new project, there's 40 alliance spots. But as soon as we drop that center fortress, our first alliance fortress, we get 10 more. So if you are waiting to join, just you can wait about and you'll be able to join that way, right? So Kamim, off topic, from S1 plus to S2, in your opinion, which is or was the harder? What do you mean which is harder? Was it harder to go from S1 to S1 plus, or was it harder to go from S1 to S2? Or do you mean like from S1 plus to S2? I'm kind of confused. If you're currently in S1 plus, I will say you've got a really good advantage against everyone else in global right now, because everyone else is going from server, you know, season 1 to season 2, and because you guys got season 1 plus, similar to myself, it means you get an additional, you know, area of rewards. So you get a whole season of rewards again, which honestly does help you when you get into that season 2 matchmaking. How are you doing, Siraj? We've got quite a nice, hopeful stream for you all, by the way. Hopefully later on, we might even get Boss Nasty on and get a nice little duo stream going. Maybe we talk about the patch, you know? Who knows, who knows? The only thing I really want to do, and I forgot to do it, and I kind of needed to do it for the live stream, but I have had so much to do. I just need to realistically make a title saying current topic, just to add to the live stream later on. So we can technically do that while we're waiting. We can answer all your questions. Have you checked out the Atheist Fear March since first season merch? I'm destroying it with this season. Visage, I think it's required artifact though. Yes, so even though I'm not playing the mage, you know, faction, we still do say for everyone who's playing League of Order, honestly, this is a menace to society, man. Because, you know, with this, you are able to just basically have the range advantage. You have the mobility advantage as well at times when you use it correctly. And like, if you're really paying attention to this march, and maybe there's a secret tech out that we're not using yet, you might be able to just abuse everyone, because the only counter to Flying Mage March, which is this, is literally the Forendil March. Like, the Fear Forendil, right? So this is like the counter because of the Flying Cabs, so... Are you doing coaching for money? I've never really been asked that question, but I'm always open to anything. And it's honestly, guys, I'm not gonna lie, this isn't obviously me being like cheeky or but if you guys want me to pay you personally pay me for coaching, maybe help you with your account or maybe PvP, I don't know what you want me to do. You can ask what you want to be coached on and I can tell you what I could do. And then if you want to support the channel, whatever you send me via PayPal, I will always invest it into the account. Just like Meliodas did, you know, Meliodas helped us out and we got that awakening on our Lilia. It's the same. Any sort of stuff that goes into my PayPal is always going into the stream. So I always want to give back. I'm not spending it on myself. So, and hopefully, obviously, with all the money and improvements of the account, we can obviously give you guys more educated content, right? Because you guys probably want to make sure you're making always the best investments and stuff like that. And obviously, I'm happy being, honestly, I'm happy being the guinea pig for everyone. It's fine. I enjoy doing it. But yeah, the new Q&A, I'm not gonna lie, we're gonna talk about it later on. I'm just gonna let you guys know when I do go into later on. I'm gonna go into a little solo podcast. I've set it all up. It looks pretty nice. Like I say, apart from one little bit I need to make during the stream, which is I'll do in the down low. But what we do want to oh, my daily limit's reached, but it says I've got 5. Okay, maybe we're not doing that. We can just go straight into PvP. Nice. So, oh no, actually I'll kill some artifact creatures while we're there. Let's do that. So, the Q&A I am going to talk about in the podcast later. I'm not going to lie, I kind of am 80% in the dislike pile and 20% on the like pile with the patch. It's good that they've confirmed that Dwarf faction is coming, basically. And it's cool that they've basically put factions, meaning it's plural. But yeah, we're going to talk about all that later. Is the Poison Lizard better than Sand Lizard for Syndra and Freyga? It depends if you want to be offensive or defensive. So, the way the Poison Lizard works is kind of offensively good with the counter attack, right? But with the Sand Lizard, it just allows you to sustain more in the battlefield. So it depends, do you want sustain or do you want more DPS? Kind of, you know, that answer goes to how strong your account is. Obviously, you should know if you've got decent commanders, maybe a T4 even, you'll know that answer yourself, right? What's the best way to farm the best amount of resets? Well, in reality, what you want to do is first make sure you have your alliance pit up. So you can see it's the alliance resource center. Just make sure you've always got someone in there. I don't have anyone in there at the moment because we're a bit busy, but we will send someone in there later. But always make sure you've got one of these in, and always make sure you are using the Gathering Commanders. And honestly, make sure with the Gathering Commanders especially, you have the Gathering Talents. So with the Gathering Talents, you want, honestly, maximum Gathering Speed. So anytime you can take Gathering Speed, just take it. Here we've been doing different stuff. This is honestly my favorite talent. You always have enough load capacity, so you don't have to worry about losing 10%. But you should always try and get either March speed or even like gather speed. And then you go up all the way, grab this, and then you come back down, and then you start, you know, maxing out the gathering tree afterwards. So that's how you can maximize your whole thing. Yeah, the new mail they sent out about stuff to do with, like, you know, artifacts and that. That's what we were just talking about earlier with the new Q&A, talking about the devs. I am going to talk about it. I am going to talk about it a little bit later. I could do it now if you really want me to, but I'll have to just quickly set some stuff up. But I am going to basically discuss about it. It's going to be a live podcast. We're going to talk about that whole patch for the first episode. It is really cool. You guys are all obviously going to be here in the chat, so you'll be able to obviously interact during that time, basically. We're going to kill all of these, by the way. I need the artifact dust. As you can see, we're about to style the bad boy up. We're getting there. We're gonna get this tier of Arbon actually 6-star next. Sounds crazy, but it's level 3 already, and I've actually started really liking the stats. So if I get 3% damage dealt and damage taken's nice. I've already got this sorted, but it's only level 2. No, so like I said, I don't want to go too in depth in it because we are gonna doing this on the podcast. But the bannable thing isn't anything to too worry about if you're a normal player. Don't worry about it. Obviously, during that, when we do the podcast, when I talk about certain topics, you guys can just, you know, put in chat what you want to put in, and then during the segment, if I finish my point or something, I'll be going to you guys in the chat anyway. I want it to be a nice interactive live podcast that we do during the live stream. Almost killed it. Almost got there. I know this bit isn't the most exciting. I do apologise, chat. It's always the beginning of the stream, just to make sure we get everyone in before we go absolute crazy, as you know. I forgot where I put certain stuff. You know when you make new folders and you're like, where did I put that folder? Oh, there we go. Sweet, all sorted. So basically we're going to get an Epic Dwarf Hero and a Legendary one. I guess the Epic one will be Infantry and the other is a Rune Mage. Would be really cool if that is the case. I'm not going to lie. If you call that right there, I'd be excited about that. It would be nice to have a new, maybe like Infantry Commander. Like Epic one. So we'll finish killing this guy. We'll kill this guy up here. And then we'll keep having a peek. Kevin's out. That's T5. But we do see... We'll see if we can grab a few merits here. There we are. Let's get some free merits. I might able to hit Shaw, not Michaels after. I love how we get double focused instant though. We'll focus the Shawn Michaels guy. Hopefully we got enough AoE to just burn down both of his marchers together and get some decent trades off for both of them. You can switch back on to no, he's really low. Because he's really low, we can get those free kills. Have unit advantage. any progress. There is a lot of progress. I will show the map off again for you guys in a moment. I'm tanking Norga now. Don't like that. I can get one skill cycler. I don't think he hits me with his. Nope. Nice little change. Just refresh the match. So on the map, what's happened is in the stalemate zone, they've built, as you can see, way more keeps. So if you remember, Steph, or anyone that does pay attention to the map, they only had 1, 2, 3 keeps. Now they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 keeps in this one zone, right? But the map progress is more on this side. So TR and TA are doing their jobs and they're pushing out, as you can see, Vape. So this is the current little battlefield here, if I can get the zoom to work, where you've got TR and TA trying to destroy these keeps, trying to destroy this Alliance Fortress to keep pushing forward. And that's going to allow them to basically blow out all of this zone, basically. And then it means they can push forward and come down this path and take out these guys. As you can see here, the other alliance are already pushed all the way down. So they're really, really close to pushing them out. And once they're pushed out, obviously that means there's a lot more reinforcements coming to help out here. So these guys are on a timer. Definitely on a timer. We'll unclick the Lilia so she doesn't die right now. Oh yeah, no, I've looked at all the commanders that were. I've got a video coming out on Sunday, and it's funny because, like I said, I mentioned it in the video already, and then I recorded this about a couple of days ago, like 3 or 4 days ago, and it was to do about like what I would personally do to improve the game, right? So what would I do personally to make this game a little bit more enjoyable, and like what I think they should do in the future, right? So, and in that I talk about adding more factions. And by adding more factions, you actually add in the generational 1 hero pool enough heroes so any of the starting units are actually viable. So if you want to pick infantry, cavalry, you know, mage or archers, you should be able to do so if they add the correct number of factions. And it looks like they are adding multiple factions the way they've stated the message, but we are going to go over it. Like I say, we are going to go over it. How can I make my pets stronger? So the way you kind of make them stronger is obviously like using them. So when you kill, you know, any of your, let's say, I'm trying to think. So if you're killing like any patrols, any dark creatures, any sort of PvP as well, it actually levels up your war pet. So the way the increase in damage is obviously by having good skills. So the higher star skill, the better damage it does. So a 0-star like Forceful Bloom here only does this small percentage, but if you had like a 3-star one or a 2-star one, it'll deal way more, so you get more of a benefit out of it. And the way these scale is because, as you notice, these stats, see how they've got these weird numbers? Everyone probably confused about the numbers, right? Well, your 22, 30, and 28 is basically your base attribute. So this is what it starts on. And every level is what this plus 289 does. So if you did 54 times 4, and then add 30, it should give you this intelligence. Well, I said this intelligence. It's probably got some extra numbers, as you can see. So it's not exactly 4, but you can see the intelligence has increased by that amount though. Same with like if you did 28 plus 3.863 times 54, you'd again get these numbers. So that's how like you get stronger, is by leveling them up, and by leveling up these stats increase, and then these deal more damage basically. So that's how you like get more, you know, damage. I don't play Madeline. No, I do play Madeline. My Madeline is level 51. She's just stuck with what do you call it, PvP only. She's on the PvP ladder. Most of these heroes are all PvP. It's just the fact that Nika has just got the peacekeeping talents. I have her and then someone else behind her, but I kind of want to level up most of the time. This time I don't think I've done that, but that's what I generally would do. We've pretty much leveled everyone I need to level. I'm not even going to lie, chat. Like, look, we're all 50. These are like the latest additions I've started to work on. So I could almost have all my heroes max to 50 and then start using them at any point for PvP. So it's like, you know, and we're not even at towards the end of the season, you know. When we get to this stage, when we get level 25 war pets, it's going to be nice. Can't wait to see what this is. But I must admit, when you get to this stage, this one's really nice, because you get the extra merits gained. That's the big one. That's the big one when you're in PvP in Season Conquest. So now we can send our mages back. I am tempted soon to just whack this on my thingy. And then put... I want to sort out basically all my artifacts, like unequip them all and equip them all to everyone properly. So I don't have to worry about it ever again. So we've got this guy to kill. Boom. How can you get the skills? So you can get the skills either by capturing pets all the time, like I've been doing. And then when you capture a pet, if it's a useless pet, which most of them generally are, you can just hit this release button here and then release the pet. And then you might, if you're lucky, get the skill. Or you can buy skills through this store. And you can get this currency by even obviously spending money. Or you can sell the different ones you've gained. You can also, as you can see now, in a merit store, you can buy, you know, skills too. You can also get like the premium merit store, which gives them even cheaper. So that's why I'm gonna try and get this, but I don't think I'm gonna get it in time. If I don't get it in time, I'm just gonna get everything else, which is fine. I'm actually happy with not spending all my CP, even though I should, but I can spend it a little bit later off stream. So, do you guys want me to start talking about the patch? And do you want me to start possibly doing the podcast? Because I'm happy doing the solo podcast, and then afterwards when I've recorded it all and got you guys all done, we can then maybe get BN in. And once BN's in, you know, me and him might do a bit more, you know. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So, I hope you guys like it. I have been working on it myself, but here we are. If I go to logo, this is my brand new podcast I've made. I do need to obviously sit in the right zone so you guys can see me correctly here. So you guys can see me in the camera and it's nice. In the background is just, this is going to be playing during certain times. And then what I've got, as you can see, is the camera there. So we can flick in between. So when I'm talking about certain points in game, you can see it in game. And then if we're not and we're just having general conversation, we can just have this in the background. So it's just something nice. The new podcast I've made, I've even got that image up there, as you can see, the SR. We've nicknamed it Scout Report, which I think is a really clever name because the whole point of it is to basically scout information, educate, have a bit of fun, and report it all out. So, and it's quite fitting with Call of Dragons, right? When you all get the Scout Report. So I kind of love the name, kind of easy podcast to work with. So I have already done, just to let you guys know, my introduction for the podcast. And then all that's going to happen in the actual video when it comes out live for the podcast itself in the playlist. You'll just see this get added on. So it'll make sense. But I do need to do one thing, which you can see is amend the size. Thank you to the new subscriber. I hope you guys saw that, but there's some brand new animations as well while we do this. That's why I kind of needed just to get this set up. I do have to add one more image. Which is that. And then all I need to do is add text. I do apologize, we can sort this out, don't you worry, don't you worry. This is the only thing I had to do, but I only could do this live, so I could see how it all lined up, right? So this little patch bit that's moving now, that is going to change as I'm talking through the patch. So we're going to obviously be changing it live throughout. So I hope you guys enjoy it. This is going to be, like I said, the first ever Scout Report podcast live. You guys are in the chat. I can see you over here, even though you're not on the screen. I can actually just see you. Anyone who subscribes, follows, tips, anyone who supports the channel during the podcast, I want to say thank you now before we get into it. All of you guys will appear this side here. You will just appear there. So if you hit the sub button, if you tip, if you do any sort of major interaction, it should go there. So thank you again for everyone. What I want to do is get the actual music set up because we have our own playlist for this, which is kind of lit. Right. I just want to make sure before we hit the record button, and anyone who's watching live now, in chat, is the audio good? Can you hear me fine? And is the music at a nice, comfortable level where it's just relaxing? Because this is all I want, a nice, relaxing backtrack while we are talking about the current topic in Scout Report. Do you need the music louder, or is it too, or what? I just need to know. You can hear this, but no music. Okay. 1 second then. Oh, the music's good now. It's enough. Yeah, I just want it so you can... I don't want it so the music's loud. I don't want it so the music's loud and overpowering. I just want it there so it's just that... You know, that nice little, it's just there, you know, it's just a little hint there while we are talking, having a nice time, one-on-one, me and you chat during the podcast. That's all I want it to do, right? So I hope it's all set up. I think it is good. So what we'll do is pretty much get going. So, like I say, if you want anyone, anytime, if you support the channel, I'm gonna thank you now before we hit, because I'm not gonna do it generally during the podcast, but again, anyone who does, it will pop up, so it's a nice little feature there. So I hope you guys enjoy this scout report. It's gonna be done live. It's gonna be, as you can imagine, like a real true content, and then it's gonna go a bit more flexible as we are in the live studio, if you want to say it. So welcome, this is Scout Report, and just as we always want it to, the cinematic refreshes at the perfect time. But we're going to be talking about patch 1.02 today, 2.0 specifically, because there will be multiple iterations of the patch. And we've got a cool little feature here where we can obviously go in-game while we are talking about certain features, which we are going to be doing because obviously the patch notes have come out. We're going to just discuss them in this nice little gentle podcast, and during any of these points, if you are maybe rewatching this again for the first time on the actual channel, you can participate live with us all. We are in the live chat. There's a lot of them having a good time. And if there's any questions during these topics, we are going to try and make it interactive where I answer the relevant questions from you, the community, during, as you can see, a Q&A or patch notes or maybe internal drama. Who knows? That's the whole point of Scout Report. It's going to be just a nice community-based podcast where we just cover different topics that you all enjoy, right? So it's a nice calm atmosphere. That's what I was hoping for. So let's just get into it, right? We are going to go into patch 1.02. So here we are. And it is a long one. There's a lot of stuff that came in this brand new patch. I've already done a video on it. You can check those videos out. You can also see in the future there's going to be a few more videos on this area, but we are going to break it all down in this podcast because I'm going to chat and see different people talk about it. So for example, before we get into even my thoughts, we've got Xana FHX that says the new patch is nice. The only complaint is that they don't want to remove the RNG of the pet skill, which is honestly I think the biggest talking point, and I think where the podcast eventually is going to lead down to that path, right? It's going to be the way we all talk about the most. So what we're going to go into is the first area. So the whole first area of this whole Q&A section is to do with basically Season 2 or the seasonal resets in the game, because a lot of players do complain about seasonal resets in the regards that they dislike maybe upgrading heroes or upgrading those artifacts, even dragon trials. I can kind of sympathize with the dragon trials a little bit, even though in the video it was a bit more heated, but it's because the whole system, as you guys know, all work together, right? So all of the heroes, artifacts, and dragon trials kind of all work hand in hand, because you all start at level 1. you obviously have 1 star on the Dragon Trials, and when you get like a level 10, you know, hero, it actually helps you push through the early stages of the Dragon Trials. So the Dragon Trial, technically like leveling or difficulty, technically progresses with the hero levels, which is kind of nice, right? But again, a lot of players don't like it, you know, and maybe some guys in chat will obviously talk about it while we're going through this next point. But I want to say, in my eyes, I think season resets are good. I think the whole point of a season reset is to balance things out and reward activity and the active player. But obviously this isn't for everyone, right? But we can see maybe in the future they might tailor or change, you know, how a season reset works to a little bit more of a friendlier approach while still maintaining the main concept of what a season reset is, right? So in chat we've got Kebi, which is, I have a question about the Dragon Trial. Is it the same hardness in S1 Plus into S2? Because a lot of players, which is a really good question, are in S1 Plus still. And if you're wondering what we're talking about there, originally in the game, and before the current game is, you had Season 1, Season 1 Plus, and then you went into Season 2. And you can see this still through this area. I do apologize on the camera hiding the little bits above here. But we have the Burning Stars and Dragon Calls. This is what the original Season 1 is. So this is what Season 1 is now. And this is what everyone will always play through. Stars Reignited, basically what Stars Reignited is the old S1, but then we all had these updates applied to it, right? And those updates are the final S1 map, right? So it's the same as what these guys are now experiencing. So that's just to cover anything up for those guys a bit confused about S1 Plus and hearing it for the first time if you're new to Call of Dragons. But the question is it going to be any harder? And the thing is, it doesn't really feel it. I'm not going to lie, from my S1 Plus journey to S2 in the Dragon Trials, it fell around the same difficulty. So again, like in my first day, I could easily in the first day push to around stage 40 to 50 easily, like just depending on where I ended up. I know I live streamed all of that too, so you could always obviously check out that live stream on it, but I don't believe it's that any much difficult. So that is for Kameen in chat and ask the question. So just to showcase what this podcast is honestly all about. It's just you guys asking questions while we go through certain things on the podcast, and hopefully maybe in the future while we do it we can get maybe certain guests in, and it'll be a nice little just, you know, calm atmosphere, right? So the next stage in this, and what I want to talk about it, is still in this area, right? Because they do talk about quite a lot in this phase, and the one area that I haven't addressed yet is the artifact part. So someone earlier in the live stream did mention this, which is a really cool little you know, rewind to what someone asked, and obviously I was going to answer it in this podcast now. You have the artifacts that may not reset their levels, and I personally think this is going to be a big mistake. I'm not going to lie. I do think this is going to be a big mistake, because it does mean for certain players like myself, or even big spenders in the game right now, it means I can max out all of my artifacts, and I know at level 1 I'm always going to be better than a lot of other players that might not be in the exact same position. Yes, you can eventually get to the same stage as me, but the whole premise of it is to reset and make things, you know, perfectly fair. So the whole point of the season reset is to make these things level 1, so everyone else has the same, you know, power, almost the same start. There's no head start, there's no couple steps forward for someone else who has, you know, hoarded maybe dust and stuff like that. So it will be interesting to see what happens. I want to see how it gets added in. My personal thought, I'm going to lie, on the artifacts themselves is I just like the fact with artifacts, maybe someone in the chat will agree here. I just think the whole point of a season reset, especially in the very future, when we're going to have more heroes, we're going to get more artifacts, we're going to get more everything, right, to use in the game. I feel like artifacts is going to be one of those things where each season you actually choose a different artifact. So as you can see now for myself, I have Shadow Blades, I've got Gold Crest, I've got Viola's Bow. So in the next season, maybe I only choose Viola's Bow and Gold Crest and I ignore the Shadow's Blade. You know what I'm saying? Like, it allows me to actually go into a different season, and I'm not expected to use everything, but it allows me to actually choose something and actually try it out. And, you know, maybe I like my Shadow Blades, so maybe I just go Shadow Blades and Gold Crest instead, and I ignore the Viola's Bow this time. You know what I mean? So I think the whole premise of the season reset, again, is kind of to allow the player to experiment, learn, adapt, and then every season, you know, they can change. And like I say, you can almost hustle. You know, you're basically hustling your account. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you're having these artifacts, and you're like, I'm not feeling this one this time. But it was a nice go around. You know, and it's cool to see that it allows you to do that. So I like the whole artifact system being a reset, but again, with the patch notes, it seems like a lot of players disagree. So it would be nice to see what happens in the future. This does come out again in November, so November time. This is when the patch is supposed to be announced. They do say it in one of these areas, so hopefully we catch it during the podcast here. Just checking out now in the chat. They say they do think it's fine, to be honest. You just need 5 main artifacts to level 60, which is very true. This is what I'm saying. A lot of players expect to think that they need all 20 artifacts leveled up to win the open field. Well, that's not the point. You only need 5, and you only have 5 marches. And it's cool to have flexibility, I admit, but it still doesn't mean you need all your artifacts to disposal, you know. And the fact that some seasons you might choose to have a double DPS artifact, so you might use Infernal Flame and that, you know, Phoenix Eye, but maybe the next season you change things up and you go Infernal Flame and Tear of Arbon, so you've got a defensive option and an offensive option. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just things you can consider when you're actually playing Call of Dragons in the way season resets actually occur. So I like them. You can tell from maybe in the main video I was a little bit more heated, but even from here you can see, like, I'm all for it, where I hope they don't go too crazy and make it what I would call like Rise of Kingdoms. And another YouTuber did say this in a video, and it was Meower, and I think it's very clever. And it is like almost like Call of Dragons is almost suffering that identity crisis. Like, it wants to be its own game, but then it starts bringing out patches and things like this that brings the game more into a Rise of Kingdoms feel. And like, a lot of players left Rise of Kingdoms and they don't want to play Rise of Kingdoms, they want to play Call of Dragons, right? So I think they need to keep that differential between two, because it's nice to have 2 different games. Some people like the way Rock plays and some people like the way Call of Dragons plays, and I think that's okay, right? There needs to be a different type of game and different, like, you know, almost like niches and tailors to different targeted audience, because not everyone likes the same style of game or grind, right? So the Q&A says that they say we are considering changing partial resets for hero levels. You think this will happen? So yeah, that's the next bit we were going to go into in here, which is a really good question by, again, Kamim again. So the partial hero level it's going to be interesting on how it works. I do like it if they do it correctly, because it is almost like a season reset, but it's like a soft cap. So instead of starting from level 1, I could see them starting you from like level 20, because by level 20 it means you have your primary hero and your secondary hero, because it means then in Dragon Trials a lot more players could actually competitively, even free to play, could actually push to level 55 really fast, because the power of 2 commanders is very strong in the early game, especially in a season. So I could see them, you know, changing the hero levels to about level 20 or something like that. But again, in my eyes, I don't see it as too much of a problem, but it's one where I think you guys as the community have to decide, you know, do you want a full reset, do you want a soft cap, or do you want no cap? You know, do you not want any sort of reset at all? So it's very interesting. I like to see where the game's going. It's been 1 year, you remember, for Call of Dragons. So this is now going into the second year. So we're going to see how this next year is going to form the game. Because normally it's this second year where a lot of the big changes and a lot of the big development happens, where a lot of the players honestly start to move over or try it out because they might be, for example, season 1, season 2, and as they hint in this, which we're going to talk about, season 3, as well as maybe season 4 later down the line, right? So it's very interesting to see what they're doing here. They're talking about here again the Dragon Trials maybe no longer resetting. I think we've already kind of touched on this when we were talking about all of the previous points, but I still think this is a really weird mechanic. It makes sense if they just add into it, but it needs to be one of those things where if you're adding levels to the Dragon Trials, it can't be so difficult that, you know, newer players just can't physically do it because they're like always T5 troops, or it's really high amounts of T5 troops. So it'd be interesting to see how this actual Dragon Trial system works. This is the one I'm actually most curious about. When it comes into all of the actual gameplay balancing system when it comes to Call of Dragons. They want another question in chat. They want to ask you another thing about hero resets to level 1. You can fix your hero skills since you only unlock your first skill, and if it's only the first 3, then you can fix it. So yeah, that is a very good point again. So that's one thing I didn't actually even consider in my video. Which is a really good point to bring up in the podcast. So, for example, what we're talking about, and I'm actually going to be using this trick on my Kanara. So, if a hero already starts at maybe level 20 and you've got a 1-1-1 hero, then you can't really fix the hero unless you go 5-5 and then 1-1, which is a really weird dilemma, right? Because there's no skill lock in the game. And obviously the skills unlock via level and experience with your stars, right? Since this all is, obviously, they all stick together. So it is interesting to see what happens, because when you do reset to level 1, like I say, you can fix heroes. So you can go and actually respec and put all your skills back into 5 here. And then when you go into the next skill, you could, and like I am technically doing, you know, we are saving our sculptures. We're nearly on 60 already for our Kanara, and that means we might be able to go up to a 5-3-1-1 commander next season, and that's all because of the way the season hero reset system works, and it allows me to actually, you know, choose and almost allocate where I want my skills. So honestly, a really good point to bring up in chat during the live stream. So honestly, big shout out to you guys that are all in here enjoying the podcast that we're doing right now. So let's go back and see what is the next area, and then we'll check out the chat. So the artifact effect, the PE hero power, is it affects PvP? I don't understand what that means, but the artifact effect, so artifacts in general, only work for the main primary hero. So if you have an artifact on 2 heroes and you put them both together, only one artifact triggers, right? And that's the primary hero. You don't get any stats or anything from the second artifact. So that's just one little clear up there, hopefully, for you there, so you don't get double stats for PvP. Since the Dragon Trial does not reset, that means we won't get the bonus XP bucks every time we clear stages, and that's another true thing. So it's like they either add new stages and they give you XP bucks for those stages, or they reset the whole Dragon Trials and it gives you the XP bucks. So it's like, it's almost adding new Dragon Trial stages just feels like just basically season reset anyway, but like harder. It just seems like an extra step that is no longer needed. Like I feel like the basic core functionality, if you want to say, of the game with the season resets makes sense. A lot of players actually, once they've, you know, played through it 1 and 2 seasons, they actually feel accustomed to it and they understand why it's there, and they realize, you know what, I'm actually fair game. Yes, I've got a T5 player I'm against, but if that T5 player isn't playing for the first week, guess what? My 1 week progress is actually way more ahead than that T5 player, because he has to catch up in XP on your hero levels and stuff like that. And it's stuff like, you know, a lot of things that come into consideration when it comes to, you know, an account, especially with power. So it is a really crazy idea. So we'll keep moving on, because there's a lot to go through here. This is to do with, again, like they're addressing what we just talked about. So in this stage, they're talking about the Dragon Trials and how to gain prestige and other concerns, the power of level caps against enemy units, as well as hero resets for your levels. You know, all this sort of stuff, even the 70-day season, how it impacts the season. There's so much that is a massive impact on this game if they go through with this plan. And this is why they say it's irreversible. And this is why I'm really, really sketchy on it. This is why I'm very, honestly, taking this very seriously for the game, because I've already done 2 videos technically on it, and nearly 3 videos. And now this podcast all talking about this one issue, because this issue we are looking at right now, and we are all currently living it. And if you are part of the podcast or watching it right now, you know, maybe a week or a couple of days later, guess what? You are in a moment of history, because whatever happens is going to change the way this game is actually going to be played, right? So it's going to be one of those where, let's see. So we're going to go into the next section. The next section's a little bit more easier. They're a little bit more chilled out, apart from then the bottom section, which is going to be a very hot topic for the podcast. But the next couple of topics in the developer Q&A that we got into was the season summary, migration, and matchmaking. Is there going to be a way for us, the players, to basically see those different stages a lot easier? And they are adding a brand new timeline for the late season, or well, for basically season 2. So you can see, so if you're in a new season, maybe when you make a brand new account in the future, no matter what, you'll be able to hit, hopefully, a special calendar, and that calendar will tell you where you are currently in the season, maybe how many weeks are left, how many days are left until you finish, and go on to season 2 or season 3 in the game. And the reason why I say season 3 is because I am talking about the next point, which mentions here season 3. So will cross-season server migration be introduced? This is a very cool topic. It's a very hot topic too. I'd love to hear you guys in chat. Maybe start putting your questions while we're covering it, and then once I've done our little feedback, we'll go to the chat and see what you guys are saying in the community. But, you know, considering the differences in strength between players seasons 1, 2, and 3, we're currently not planning adding the ability to migrate between the servers that are in different seasons. We are considering, though, adding a cross-season migration after season 3 ends. So the way I feel this is structured is very clever, because the way it almost appears is they are going to follow the same almost philosophy as that Rise of Kingdoms, where you have KVK 1, 2, and 3. Then you go into KVK Season of Conquest. So here you're going to have Season 1, 2, and 3, and then you might have a special event, you know, Season of something, where you're going to pick maybe in the future different types of seasonal events to matchmake in. And when you hit that Season of Conquest mode, that's when you're going to be able to migrate. But you can't migrate between, say, server 2 to 32 until you get to that stage. So if you're in seasons 1, 2, and 3, the only way you're going to be able to migrate is through the current method, which is through the end of the season division, where, you know, whoever you fought against, maybe you made a new ally, maybe you made new friends with the original enemies of, you know, your season, right? Maybe you migrate that way until season 3 and onwards comes. So, oh my lord. Thank you for that in chat. We've got a nice gifted subs by Metal Injection. Absolutely amazing. I know I wasn't going to do this. It might be the one-off for the podcast, since it's the first podcast of this kind, and we're trying to keep it nice and chill. But Metal Injection, thank you for support, my friend, with the 5 gifted subs 2GUHBD Hinata. I can't pronounce the last guy, but CM as well. All of these players now are popping up, let's say, on this side or this side. I hate the camera. But all these side, brand new members, thanks to Metal Injection. So thank you for support, my friend. So Zanata from server 32 though, BDO, but they can't wait to fight us. Yeah, it will be really nice to see that in the future. So let's carry on with the patch notes. I hope you guys have been enjoying the podcast so far. This is, like I say, trying to be nice, chilled out podcast where we discuss things about Call of Dragons, which could be the patch, could be upcoming changes. It could even be server drama about Call of Dragons, or even maybe something like a story and have a guest on, right? So I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and like, if you have, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button during the live stream, and maybe you'll enjoy the future podcasts that come out on the channel, right? So here we go. Let's go into the next part of the podcast, which is going now into the war pet skills. And this war pet skills, guys, I'm just gonna say right now, is gonna be the one that is gonna be the hottest topic, and I've already made my thoughts very clear on this, but we've also done a video specifically on it, and obviously we've been talking a little bit in chat. So the new question was asked about, you know, the brand new skill slots. So if any skill slots are going to be added to the pets, how is it going to work? They basically made it so it's still going to be replaced by a random skill. So a lot of players, and I've got this in the video, and I know some guys from server 32 have said it, and server 33 feel this as well. They feel disappointed in this response. They kind of feel like, you know, the way this is set out is almost like, you know, this is going to happen and deal with it. You know, it's kind of dismissive, kind of nasty in terms of the way it's been almost put out. Because the way, you know, the saying is like, currently each time, it's almost saying like, this is how it works. You guys are just maybe a little bit, you know, not the smartest of players and didn't understand how it worked. But in patch 1.02, they are adding clarity on how this system works. So we're going to see how that is. But in my opinion, I just think this should be improved. I don't think they should actually add this, you know, clarity on how this system works. I actually just think they should improve the system and then add the clarity, because at the moment, the way the war pet system works, especially when it comes to skills and you're trying to get those war pets, get those skills to make them 1-star, 2-star, eventually 3-star in the late game once you've got your pet going, right? It costs you so much time and money. And the thing is, if you're not spending money, the amount of time it's going to cost you is easily going to be triple, maybe quadruple the amount of time of a normal person who's, no, I say a normal person, a whale or a big spender in Call of Dragons. Because when you hit that effect where you have so much diminishing returns from skills, it's like you have a almost gambling system and you have to hit the jackpot every single time to go to the next stage, and then hitting the finale is the one which, you know, smashes it out. So when it comes to maybe an you know, an analogy of it, a really good way of almost thinking how the war pet skill system works is, imagine if you had a bag of dice. This is how I like to put it now. We've got a bag of dice, we've got 20 dice in there, and what I need you to do is roll them all, and for every single 6 that you roll, I want you to put it into a separate pile. And keep doing that, and keep doing that for at least 4 times, and see how many 6s you actually roll over time, because you'll see it diminishes and diminishes over time, because obviously the pool of dice is smaller, right? Because obviously you've just, you know, got 6 dice and you've taken them out the pool, and now I've only got 14 dice. Well, this is how the skill system technically works. You know, you're going to be farming those pets, you're farming all of these pool of pets. You've finally got one pet which has the right talent on it, and then you might need to release that pet to get the skill or talent for that, you know, pet. But that's an RNG chance, and then if you've rolled that chance, good for you. You've made it next stage. You're gonna go to the next stage, and guess what? You then roll the dice again, and if you hopefully land correctly, you'll learn on the right skill. If not, guess what? All of that effort, all of that time has been basically put to waste. And people who spend a lot of money can obviously in chat right now, if you're only just joining, this is the podcast here. We're talking about, obviously, at the patch, you can interact with me live in the chat. I put anything what you want question wise, and we're going to answer it during these sections, right? So I just think personally with the war pets, they need to do either two things. I think personally, I'm not, you know, the guy who's just going to keep moaning about the war pet system. Obviously, I've got a solution for you guys. I think the way war pets should honestly get fixed is one of two ways. So you can go route A, and route A is you keep, like they said, you keep the RNG in the game. And that's fine, but if you're going to keep the RNG in the game for a player, I think you're going to need to allow us to capture more pets. Because by allowing us to capture more pets, it's actually going to allow us to actually feel the odds better. You know, we're going to feel like, okay, this is a bit more consistency because I'm catching maybe 15 or 10 pets a day. I can actually see that just skills I want more often. And even though you might think, you know, I'm saying more often as like this is going to happen every single day, it might not happen every single day, but it's just like you're giving the players that extra maybe 5 or 10% extra chance of odds, right, in their favor. And that's what you need to do. And I think players need to have the ability to capture war pets. Now that's route A, right? Or we could go route B. And this is the one which a lot of players have already said, right? Why do you not just allow players to just select a skill slot, you know? There's so much time, money that could be invested into war pets. Players are happily willing as well to invest into war pets, but because of the RNG feature, they feel like their return to investment on their money and stuff like that isn't worth it. So they're not spending any more money on war pets because fundamentally it's just not worth it for them. Yes, it's a feature that is really fun, and yes, it's a feature that you can get behind and everyone can enjoy because it's similar to Pokemon and everyone has that nostalgic feel, you know, of Pokemon. But when you put such a harsh restriction on it, it loses the fun and it loses its identity. And I think that's the problem again with this Q&A. And as Meow said, you know, maybe Call of Dragons at the moment is in a small identity crisis there, right? So I hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. This is, again, the podcast. We've been chilling, having a nice time, talking about the Q&A. If you guys have got any questions, again, whack them in chat. We've got Kameem that did said, once I tried to get a 4th skill, and I did it 13 times and didn't get it. And now I just had my luckiest time getting the Berserker Phaedric filled with 6 skills. So that just shows the amount of time and commitment people are putting, and that, honestly, 13 times is a very small amount. We've got pictures and evidence of players rolling 50 plus times to get the skill to land where they want it to be landed. And that's with 2 to 3 open empty slots on their war pet. So there's a lot to discuss. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this section. Maybe, you know, put a timestamp in the podcast and put your comment below on what you think about it, right? So here we're going to go into the nice little areas, little bit of quality of life changes, and I do like how they address this little change. I was one of those players, and I'm still kind of am one of those players that I think it's a little bit cheeky to say, can we get a one-time feature to claim all the Alliance gifts? And what they mean by it is when you're in the Alliance gift section, obviously when you're in this area, you have a spam click all, because this is just anything free earned you can get, you know, spam click. But if anyone spends any money, so like Ghost here or Wayne, for example, like any of these players that have spent money And some players have obviously kept anonymous for their own reasons, right? But anyone who spends money, obviously, they have given this chest to you, even if you're a free-to-play player. And I think it's a very, I wouldn't say disingenuous or disrespectful, but I just don't think it's nice to say, can I just get a mass click button and not actually thank or see the players that are actually spending their hard-earned money, you know, in the game. Maybe it's a hot take, maybe it's something that people may disagree with how I look at things, but in my eyes, you know, if someone is willing to drop £300 or $400 on the game and fill the store with 5, 6 gold chests, for example, well, guess what? You should have to click these buttons and you should thank them for it, because those guys are helping you grow as a player for free. So it's a very hot thing, but that's what the you know, patch notes is talking about. So when we go into here where it says we make the alliance claim gifts a one-tap click, this is the way they're asking about it. But I do like the devs. Like I say, I'm not going to hate the entire patch. I'm not being a big hater. I do love the patch. I've just got, as you can see, some really nitpicky moments when we're talking about it. And that is simply, you know, the Alliance gifts section they put is a very clever one, where maybe you click a button and it only opens 10 at a time. But I wanted this to be maybe one step further. So, you know, when you open and it does the 10 and you can see all of the free, you know, different rewards that you've got, at the bottom, instead of saying you have claimed, maybe it's show like you were given by, and then say the 5 or 6 or 2, whoever, you know, spent the money to get those 10 chests. It'd be really cool to put their names at the bottom. So at least then, yes, you spam clicking the 10, but at least the people that have got you those 10 chests are still getting some recognition. You can still see who bought them, and if you want to, you can thank them in the chat. Because I always thank generally all my big spenders, even my biggest supporters like Meliodas, that is in chat having a little bit of a joke during the live stream, pretending to be a free-to-play player while secretly donating another 50 to the stream. So thank you for the support, guys, and I want to say thank you again, everyone who's tuned in, everyone who's hitting the like button, everyone who is honestly enjoying the Scout Report. This is a brand new podcast. I'm making it for myself, so I can just basically do this whenever I want. I don't have to worry about anything, and I can get guests on, I can get whoever I like on at any time, right? So I hope you guys have been enjoying it. So let's carry on with hopefully the ending area of the podcast, the last little section before we finish things up, and maybe take it into the chat before finishing up things for the podcast, right? So they are adding a really cool feature, which is the multiple character playable feature on PC. So like myself, as you guys know, I am playing on the PC client. I'm going to be able to actually play on my main account and a farm account, technically, at the same time. And the way they've worded this is very clever again, and I want to just clarify this for any of the players that are basically watching and listening to the podcast, right? And the way they have stated this is, we want to ensure, and this is their message, we want to ensure that this feature is not used for malicious purposes. If we detect that a player is taking part in such actions as rallies, gathering, and resource assistance that affect the game balance, we will suspend access to their character. So the way this works is the game balance. This is the very key feature. So for every normal person, you, me, you know, anyone, right? It's not going to affect us, because obviously we are law-abiding citizens. We are good Tamarians of the Call of Dragons game. We do as I was told. We farm fairly. We obviously resource send to ourselves. We're using our farm accounts, right? Any of that's perfectly fine. But for example, right now, if they see, for example, a account that might be logged into 2 accounts that are both farming, and then they see another maybe account doing the exact same thing, and then the exact same thing, and they can actually trace to an IP address, maybe one person with 20, 30 accounts that are dual logged in, purely farming to sell as resource. Obviously selling resources against terms and conditions, and that is obviously changing the game balance, because you are giving players extra resources that they shouldn't actually be able to have by just giving them by obviously sending some money, right? So that's what they talk about when it says game balance. The way rallies is, I think the way when they talk about rallies is all about actually when you maybe have a player maybe having 2 accounts, 2 T5 accounts, and he's actually managing to rally with 2 different accounts at the same time. And that's the only thing I can think of when they talk about rallies. Maybe someone in chat, maybe someone in the comments, maybe later on in the podcast will obviously clarify what they think as well on that subject, because it is a little bit of a weird one to put as rallies, but it is anything basically to impact the game in a negative way. So if they do something, even in war, which would affect an alliance from effectively winning or losing a war, obviously that's a game imbalance change that would rectify a ban on that account. So that's all they mean about this. If you're just a normal person, a normal Bob, you know, Andy down the road that just happily farms and just has a farm account that sends their resources to their main account, you guys are fine. Don't worry about it. It's nothing aimed at you. And then we're going into the last little areas. Union chat, they're going to be adding Union chat. Is a really cool feature. They've already done the experimentation with the season preparation chat. So by adding that season preparation chat, they know they can add different ways of getting, you know, alliances in and talking privately. So clearly by doing that, they've been able to expand on making your union have its own chat. So for example, now TM and TMO2 would be able to start talking to each other in the start of November when this comes out. And this is when we was hoping during the podcast it would come, right? This is when the patch is going to go live, November time, which has been said in the mail. We don't have a specific date, just a month, right? So until we get some more details and some more announcements that I can give you guys from the devs, obviously I'll give you that information live, right? So what new upcoming gameplay events are coming up? And this is honestly, these next 2 points are the last 2 points of the patch notes, and this is what makes this podcast easily the saving grace of the patch notes, because they saved it all in my eyes, obviously with the problems that you guys have heard through this podcast so far. As I'm scrolling back up, talking about the PvE side, the season reset side, the artifacts, as well as the war pets, they actually saved it. They did save it, and like I say, it's a good patch. It's still a good patch. I'm just a little bit iffy on a few of the things, right? So what new gameplay events are coming up? So they're adding this really cool, weird feature, Behemoth Raids, right? So Behemoth Raids is, as you can see, it's not on the world map. So these are not raids that I think you are competing against Alliance versus Alliance for the Elite Raids. What I think this is going to be, and I'm guessing they're going to change the name. It's not going to be called Behemoth Raid. Maybe it might be called like Behemoth Gauntlet or something like that, I could see. But maybe it is a way where myself, maybe in server 2, and maybe players in server 32 and 33 and 40 and 50 and 60, as you can imagine where I'm going with this, maybe all of us can go into this matchmaking event that pops up every week, and you can basically click it. You can choose to be a DPS, pick your match, and which is a 1 Legion, and this could be DPS, tank, or support, for example. And then the game makes it, right? So the game grabs 30 players out of all the different areas and makes a raid where you could basically fight the Hydra or the Thunder Rock or any of the other behemoths and basically get some rewards and, more importantly, learn. I think it's a really cool feature. You get to learn about how you could actually be better in these raids, especially when you're not really got that much experience. It's a really friendly way to gain experience, even for a new player and free-to-play player, in a raid. So when they get that, you know, match ready, they're able to go into these world map raids and compete for the elite frames. So I hope to hear you guys in the chat. I want to hear what your thoughts are in that section. Let me know if you got any questions. I will come back to them. But we've got the final exciting point. There is a little bit of an extra event here. I'm just going to skip over it. I'm not going to lie, guys. It's to do with a treasure map fragment. I'm not particularly too, excited about it until I see some gameplay, on it. But more excitingly, and this is the more exciting moment, is will they be adding new factions? And yes, they are in early stages of designing new factions, and this is plural. There's an S, guys, and this is the cool thing about it, right? So because there's new factions, we know, and as we all have been assuming on this channel, if you've been following it from the get-go, we've been talking about the Tales. We've also been doing a lot of stuff about the lore on the live stream, and we've been discussing the potential factions, and dwarves are definitely going to be one of the factions I can happily say is going to come into the game, definitely. If it doesn't, I'd be very disappointed with the devs. With the amount of people, the amount of community support the dwarven faction has got in this game. So many people have said they would legit just come and quit Rise of Kingdoms if they can play a dwarf faction. That is how much people love dwarves. So it'd be really cool to see this getting added. But there's obviously more factions that they could be adding into the game. And obviously in the comments after the podcast is over, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Obviously, I think they could be potentially making, I'm not going to lie, satyrs. I think the satyrs are going to become their own faction, because the way the satyr faction actually works, with a little bit of lore here during the podcast, is the satyr faction actually is split up into two different actual factions. You have Uma, that basically follow their leader, Uma, who is the original leader that stayed with more of the celestial beings and more towards the Wilderberg tribe, and basically formed the coalition with the Wilderberg. But when you look at the other faction, these guys were called the Wanderers, and these guys basically kept, as you can imagine, as the title says, wandered. So these guys just kept moving from different state to state. So they went from Forgotten Lands to Zorland to Burning Lands. They were everywhere in this because they kept getting moved about and they kept adapting to the situations. So it would be interesting to see that maybe the satyrs could be their own possible faction as well in the future. Also, you gotta think, because this is a fantasy-based game, and I've not really addressed it, but, the story can adapt, right? The story could be changed where they add in new factions or new races like you see in Season 2 with the dwarves, right? So maybe we get some Cyclops or some ogres or some sort of, lizard people, like lizard men, right? All these different types of mythical beast men tribes that are almost existent in, if you want to call it, like Dungeons and Dragons, are almost accessible to the devs to bring into the game and to bring their own twist and bring their own love and lore to that faction. And I think that's a very clever way of doing it, because by bringing these new factions in, it does fill in the gaps of heroes that players need. And this is a little bit of a topic I've mentioned in another video, you might have watched it, but by adding new factions, you have new starting heroes. So that means you have a new epic hero, which could be a new infantry or mage hero, for example. And then a lot of the time, if you've noticed, when you look at a actual tribe, a tribe generally does have some sort of basics. So if we look at archers, archers always had, your Craig, you always have your Guan Win at the bottom, and then you have Nico. So you have all these like baseline commanders, and in Season 1 you get, as you guys know, the Kanara unlock. So you have the support in early stages in Season 1. Same with when we look at cavalry. Cavalry, you have the Alistair, which a lot of people know of, and then you have Emrys, and then you get Bakshi. So you have a lot of support there again for a starting civilization, starting unit choice for the players that wanting to play cavalry. And then infantry, again, you can say the same. Infantry has Madeline through the lucky wheel that you will get, but without a lucky wheel, you still get Groot, and you have Garwood, and you get Bakar as these, you know, starting foundational heroes, right? And then, like we said, you get Madeline later on. And when you get into Season 2, you're starting to see, you know, we have, you know, extra cavalry heroes like Forendel and Theodore coming out, and potentially there's going to be some more, you know, heroes coming out that might be infantry or mage. But the problem is, if you look, the big issue is the mage players. The mage players literally have Valen to work with. Because if you're not a spender in Call of Dragons, and not every single person is a spender, and I think that's why a lot of you guys in the community enjoy the channel and then enjoy the content here, is I make the content for spenders and non-spenders, free to play, and, you know, the guys who do like spending money. And the thing is, you know, Lilia is not accessible to every person, and because she's not accessible to every person in the early game, you only have Valen, Waldia, and obviously Alwyn, and then Atheus to your disposal. So it'd be really interesting if they bring in a brand new faction. Maybe that new faction brings a new legendary hero as well, and it allows the mages just to have that extra give in the early game. So then when they do get to maybe Season 2 or Season 3, when eventually their first two heroes come out through the Lucky Spin and Strongest Lord, at least they've got sufficient amount of heroes compared to everyone else, right? Because everyone else is going to have 4 to 5 different heroes compared to the mages that are going to have like 2 to 3. So I really do think for the patch notes, they did a really good job addressing that possibility. And I think that gives a lot of hope to the players in the Q&A and the Call of Dragons, you know, future in the next year. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. This has been the Scout Report. I'm just checking chat right now if you guys have got any questions on the, you know, Call of Dragons universe or anything to do with the Q&A. You can ask away right now before we end the things on the podcast. And while I wait for your guys' questions to finish out the whole podcast, we're just going to talk. We're just going to have a nice little discussion about the game, right? Just to finish things up. And if there isn't no questions, guess what? We will just end things there, right? So I must admit, personally, it's been a year. I've been playing the game for a year. This is the, you know, my first podcast officially on the channel under the podcast's name. So hopefully you guys should be able to find this content when it comes out. But, you know, it's been a blast. You know, for 1 year, we've experienced a lot. You know, we've had Nico go from an attack speed hero to counterattack and normal attack damage hero, and they removing attack speed, but then reintroducing attack speed as rapid fire with Syndron, which is a really clever way of doing it, because that's how basically everyone initially thought attack speed worked, is how rapid fire is now. And obviously they've done really cool changes with adding the rally mechanics in, testing that out, taking it out, and now re-adding the rally mechanics so they attack back. So we expand on that open field, you know, gameplay push mechanic. So you can see they're able to do a lot of stuff. And in the year, I think for a game that's brand new, obviously it does have some foundational blocks to work from, but as a game that is brand new, it honestly is doing fantastic. And even the CGIs that you've seen, that's played in the background, and the CGIs for Season 2 and stuff are all amazing. They're all fun, they're really good quality, and it gives really good expectations and high hopes for this game. And as I see, there is no actual questions in the chat, so I think this podcast has actually been a success, and you guys have been asking the questions during the podcast, and I've answered the ones that you guys have been waiting on. And then you guys have just been sat listening, enjoying the discussion while you guys have been maybe playing Call of Dragons, maybe you'd be re-listening this podcast again while you're doing something. The whole point of it is just so you guys and myself can just have a nice gentle discussion about, like I say, the game, it could be upcoming patches, it could be gameplay mechanics, it could be hero discussions, internal drama on a server, even brand new guests. So all of those are coming your way. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for that. This is the Scout Report, episode 1. Tuning out. I want to say thank you to all the guys that have subscribed, Metal Injection for all the gifted subs, and Meliodas for the tip during all of this podcast that was given live, and obviously it was shown on this little pop-up here for you guys. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this brand new setup. Obviously it needs a little bit of work, I know, but it's something that hopefully becomes a baby of the channel, and we all can come together, hopefully maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, and do this together and talk about the game. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the support, and until the next Scout Report, guys, like we always say on every video, stay safe, guys, stay sneaky, and peace out. So what did you like? Did you like that, guys? That was episode 1 live of the podcast. And like I say, I didn't want to thank people during it, but since it was the first podcast and you guys kind of went off on one, I kind of had to do it. But thank you, Meliodas, for gifting that 50, as well as Metal Injection doing the gifted subs again, being an absolute monster. You two showing some absolute big support in chat. So I hope you guys have been enjoying it. This has been the channel so far. We can jump back into, if I go to the main stream here, the right one, we can now see everything back. You know, we've got a new, it says new sponsor of the channel. I don't know what that means. Let me jump on the activity feed here. I think that might be my alerts just saying to all of the players that actually got the gifted subs. So I think if you got a gifted sub from Metal Injection, your name should be popping up right now during the video. And then eventually down below, as you can see, and it will come up, there we go, Meliodas tipping the 50. So again, thank you guys. I didn't forget all about you guys. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the stream though. You know, I've been trying to make this more of an entertainment stream, and hopefully over time I get really good at doing it so you guys can enjoy Call of Dragons, and then if there's like the podcast like that afterwards, we can go into it. I'm just gonna check if BN's free. He says he's free now, which is kind of perfect timing because he has some time, so we can get BN on the live stream for a bit, see how he is. We can obviously talk about maybe more about the patch. Maybe he'll give you his thoughts on the patch. I need a drink though after that. Woo! Yeah, he's free, guys. He is free. So I'm gonna have to do some sound sampling. The music's gonna be really quiet. Let me turn it up a little bit. Again, I just want it so you guys can only just hear the music. Let me know. I'm gonna call Bien. Let's call the boy. There we go. We're still streaming. We're all good. Say hello to the chat. I hope everyone can hear you fine.
Yo, yo.
Yeah, I think everyone can hear you fine.
Oh, my little doggy.
There we go. Chat, can you guys hear? What's Soon saying? I think
No.
They can. I think they can hear you fine.
Maybe I was just talking too low.
Oh no, it'd be my side on my side because I have like some really weird audio settings. Yeah, they can hear you fine. That's great. How you doing, dude? How's it been? It's been a hot second, hasn't it? Since we've
Dude,
caught up.
the hottest seconds, man. The hottest seconds. Yeah, no, going good, man. Just trying to juggle just a few more things, and gonna be actually gonna be trying to see if I might be able to get into competitive soccer coaching soon.
What? Competitive soccer coaching?
Well,
You mean football? You mean football, right?
Yes, football. Yes.
We don't have soccer in our chat. That should be blasphemous.
That's right. Football. But yeah, so I started coaching my daughter's team, and I mean, I played competitively for a pretty long time, and I never really thought I would enjoy coaching as much as I did until I started coaching my girls, and it's just a rec team, so it's nothing. It's not like a select or academy premier or anything really competitive. But it's been so fulfilling and so rewarding. It's a U8 girls team, and I mean they're a hoot, and they are hilarious. They have so much spunk and character, and it's so it's awesome when you're working. I guess when obviously depending on who it is, but I think when you work with people in any kind of a coaching capacity, and you really have things that you hope you can teach them and things that they'll really get, and when you see those moments where they're applying what you talk about, what you show, what you teach, what you inform, you educate, display. It is so rewarding, man. I cannot tell you how exciting it is, and once again I reiterate, it is just a rec team. It's nothing competitive at all. But yeah, man, I think we're like 5-0 right now. Nice, our team is, and
hell yeah,
which has been awesome, and so the girls love the training sessions, and it's been a blast. So I'm thinking about getting into that. I actually have an interview later today with the director for one of these clubs, so We'll see how that goes. But outside of that, man, just been reading this bomb drop today.
Yeah, so. I've got a question for you, since obviously I've got a question in chat, and I'm going to obviously answer the one in chat, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. They go, are you doing the rally marches? And obviously to Scott Spears, we are doing the rally marches, but at the moment, as you can kind of see, I'll kind of share my screen so you can understand what these guys are seeing live. Boosh.
Also good. I'm watching.
All right, sweet. So yeah, so like, really like that stalemate anyway. So like, rallies right now just don't really do too much, right? So, a rally isn't gonna actually punch you through this like defense line, especially when Archeo have now developed 8 keeps from 3. So building 5 keeps kind of keeps you locked in, as you can imagine. But the power of the rally march is obviously when there's actual open field. So like when you're going over to more like the vape side where TA are fighting, as you can see, this is where you got more chance of probably seeing that TA or Mr. Man's or the cat should I say meowing, but this is where you can see the rallies more effectively happen. So here you go, is one actually a really good, like I called it, because it's like the area for it, so it's really good for open field. So what's your thoughts on it? Like, do you like the rally meta as they're calling it, even though like me and you kind of knew of experienced or saw this in patch notes prior when it came out?
Yeah, man. No, it's been I think the thing I've been seeing for some of the games I've been watching, or some of the PvP I've been watching, has been interesting just to kind of see the way that it's being used. Like I was talking to some people yesterday, and I think in one of the I don't know if it was the recent video I did or the one before that, but I know for the game I was watching, or for the PvP I was watching, they basically stopped it at the top of the ramp after they got what it felt like to the middle or to the back line of where the grouping was. So, it seems as though, it can be used as a way to either get over a bridge, get up a ramp, just basically safely. What's that thing in that movie 300 where like they formed that ball, right, and like no one could like get to them, and they
it's
were
literally like the Roman like circular.
yeah. But also like when they were lined up, right, the Spartans were kind of like pushing their opponents back inch by inch, and it kind of feels like that, where it's an easy way to basically not really teleport, but march a big group or a large number of legions in somewhat of a safe manner, because I mean, who's going to sit there and attack the rally in open field? So, but yeah, I've been seeing more of it, and I mean, it seems like it is one viable solution. In defensively, countering that, it feels like there's ways that you can counter that, where if everyone is really organized, you could basically have everyone push, like just immediately start pushing your advantage, either down a ramp or over a bridge. That kind of would force them to either stop the rally early.
What we've been doing. So
like things like that.
Yeah, because we've been doing that. Like, so whenever a rally, so there's a few ways you can counter them. That's why I kind of like the meta. I think at first, people might be hesitant on it until they play it, but it's like, I like the fact that, say you're the attacker, say I'm the rallier, right? I like the aspect of it that as the rallier, you have like technically like two, if you want to call it like two forms at the moment. Well, 3, but we ignore number 3. But like you have 2 main forms of like triggering the rally to almost like start combat, and that's either like dedicating like a tank to walk next to it, so then his hopeful aggro of like the mage units aggros and AoEs onto the rally, so then that starts the open field combat, and then you see like all the murder ball kind of like back off and let the rally do its job, because like the way I saw the rally, which is a really maybe unique perspective of it now, is it's almost like having the perfect murder ball. So like instead of having you've got your T5 player who's leading it, and then you might have the 5 to 7 T4 players behind him, right? At least he doesn't have to worry about controlling technically 2 million marches, 2 million troops, which is 20 marches potentially on screen, and you don't have to worry about them all not focusing on the same target, because it's all in that one rally. So it's like a really cool way, even like for just focus fire, so you can actually make things kind of a little bit more dumbed down. And like we've been countering those rallies too with like archers, because like another strategy you see people do, which is really cool, is like maybe you just send the full rally, but then when you send that full rally, you have like someone like the mage player will be inside it, and he will just purposely jump out to basically do the same task as what the infantry player did, and then he'll just jump back into the rally once he's got the aggro done. So it's cool that like you've got ways to engage the combat, and then you've got ways to counter it, because like I have it in like my video. You can see like archers are actually really good right now. Like archers are phenomenal because of this meta, because it's like, well, you're trying to draw aggro to the rally, but my archer is just going to melt the single target guy, and it's never going to target that rally. So it's a really clever way of like getting away with it. And then like you might have seen the rallies might come up, so we might allow like a rally here. Like we might allow a rally to technically come all the way down here, and then you'll see us block it with troops, and then it gets counter rallied afterwards because it's in a safe spot where it's not where the open field troops are, because that's where obviously all the damage is going to apply. So I find it cool. I find it cool how you can, as you can imagine, you know, it's got two sides to the coin, and I'm not saying it's perfect or what, but it's kind of cool the direction it's gone in. It's made open field more exciting, I think. Let's say that.
Oh yeah. Oh man, it's nice to get another dimension, another layer.
Yeah.
To the open field, that is for sure.
But yeah, that mess, which we'll probably talk about later, will be fun.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, we've been talking about it obviously on the stream already, but and I've already done obviously like videos on it, but it is absolute. I want to hear obviously your thoughts on it when we do it. It's going to be one of them ones where it's going to be like, oh lord, because I don't know if you've seen Meow's video on it yet, but Meow did a really good line where it's like Call of Dragons is having an identity crisis because it's like trying to be Rise of Kingdoms while not being Rise of Kingdoms. Like it's like you don't need to do that. Just be Call of Dragons. You don't need to be Rise of Kingdoms. You know?
Oh yeah. Oh, hang on one man. I got a call coming in 1 second.
Yeah, no worries, dude. How you doing, chat? Though, you guys enjoying the stream? You been enjoying it? Nice, easy late night stream, casual, chilled PvP. I'm trying to jump out and get Riven quickly. Instantly one target. Get him. Target the next one. Oh yeah. Mujib, I'm getting you because you've been targeting me too much, my friend. Oh, mistakes were made today, chat. Mistakes are made. We'll draw the aggro. We'll put them in. We're faster than them all. It's fine. I'm running secret tech. I'm running my secret tech. I'm too fast for them. Look, I nearly pulled them up the ramp. They were clueless right now. I'll come back out so they can all draw aggro on me again. There we go. I think BN might be a tad busy. Oh, he might have to disappear, which is fine. Let's just see. Let's see what he types. Nice to see him in the stream briefly before. I think he's got to pick up his kids, so... Oh, his kids are coming home. So, we know that family life. There you go, Riven. Target me, girl. Target me. Fire that bad boy off. Boom. AoE galore. Walk up. Because they've already targeted me thinking I'm still walking down. Yeah, he's had to dip, which is fine. Let's just close Discord. So yeah, man. We are going to be chilling. I'm going to let you guys know I am going to be teleporting out. Oh god. Let's have a look. Matrix is trying to hit me from this side. I don't mind like losing troops because I do feel like I have quite a shit ton of troops. I'm not gonna lie. And if I was on full health, I think I beat this guy because this guy is losing quite a lot of troops for the fact that I were quite low HP. So I definitely think I beat this player if I'm on max. So I can look, I can judge it myself. He has more magic attack. He's got 5514 while I'm on 5532. I don't know, it's actually close. Kind of close one that. I've got more HP just. I've got more defense just. Magic defense, he's got the tiniest bit. He's got more attack. So it might be the runes he's running. But my Drake is got better skills, but he's level 60. So it's a close fight, actually, you know. I think I would have beat him, especially on max, because like I would beat these guys, and I know these guys are stronger than him. No offense to him. Ooh, we've got all this to do still. We've almost done the fort challenge. We kind of need to get these rewards, because obviously I really want to get to 60. 60, I'm happy. I'm not gonna lie. On this battle pass, if you get to 60, you should be happy. Just because, like, obviously everything else is a bonus, but this season you're getting Dragon Rift. It's not really worth your time, unfortunately. But yeah, at some point I do need to figure out where. I'm gonna need a teleport, like down here, or like here. I just need to teleport somewhere. So then I'm out of the zone, and then I need to join TMO2, and then hopefully tomorrow I can teleport back in, and then I can carry on fighting, basically. But I might even, depending on how it goes, I might, after the Roots of War, join these guys and help these guys push. Because I'm just going to say, chat, this fight over here is easy mode. And if I'm over here, I'm going to be earning way more merits than the main fight, right? Because you got to think, this is the fight here where I'm against all the T5 players all the time. So, you know, it's one of them. Heal those units. But yeah, nice, easy, casual stream. We're going to hit the 2-hour mark. I didn't want to do anything too crazy. I just wanted to have a nice, chilled out stream. As you guys can tell, we had the podcast, introduced it for the first time to you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy it when it comes out. You can obviously re-watch that whole, you know, live stream segment again, and it'll look a lot nicer when you're obviously probably watching it as the main video. But I am going to try and do more. So I am going to try and get, you know, different guests on the podcast, and this is actually like people that know the game in and out. You know, even YouTubers, maybe even alliance leaders, because I do have, I'm not gonna lie, a really cool podcast I really want to make on that, to do with an alliance called ZOD. And ZOD has a really cool story, so I really do want to make, or if I can, get them on whenever I do the next podcast. And then it'd be a really cool one, because they came from State of Survival, and State of Survival went through something kind of similar to what the War Pet system is right now, but it went way more. So imagine the War Pet system, what we've got now, with the current pay structure being quite brutal for spenders. Imagine maybe another 5 more different mechanics like that, all added in. That's what killed that game. So imagine being a whale, and then you need to spend between $5,000 to $8,000 a week to keep maintaining your whale status. That's how brutal State of Survival got in its game. So a lot of players quit. Loads of players have quit that game now, and a lot of players have actually moved from that game to Call of Dragons, and they actually like I said, they do like the devs more here. They like the direction that the devs are taking. But there is obviously that type, like in the podcast, as you can imagine, we've addressed the, you know, the concerns on it. So hopefully I can get them on, and if I can, it'd be a really good episode, I think, because we can just talk about Call of Dragons a little bit and just let them tell their story about State of Survival, because I don't know really too much about the game. But I'd love to just have that conversation, and I think with a podcast, it's the perfect place where people like that and other, you know, other YouTubers and other alliance leaders can just come on the podcast and we can just talk, you know, no judgment, no nothing. We can just talk about whatever we're going to set up for those topics for the day. So yeah, man, I'm glad you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. And I want to say again, one last time, thank you, Meliodas, if you're still in chat, and Metal Injection for all the support. You guys are just absolute top dogs. I know I've probably streamed more this week than I have any week. It's probably because of the war. Once we've got, as you know, once we've got content to showcase you guys with PvP, we show it all the time, right? But if there's nothing to show, then we don't really show anything, right? So I don't want to waste your time, right? I want your time to feel worth, you know, coming here. I want you guys to enjoy yourselves. I want you guys to feel, you know, relaxed, you know, chilled out, where you can just talk in chat when you want to talk in chat and stuff like that. So you enjoy my videos, so if you do a podcast, we'll also probably listen and watch that also. Yeah, so if you've only just joined, Scott, maybe towards the end of the podcast you might have noticed it. So I will just jump back into it because I kind of like it. So if we go to this was the podcast. So if you joined the chat or the stream during this stage, we was in the podcast. So game stuff was coming up and it was talking about the you know, actual game mechanics, and then I have just this nice little cinematic that's there. So yeah, if you enjoy podcasts, I'm gonna have that podcast up soon. I'm gonna try and get it uploaded for like Saturday. The only reason I'm doing it for Saturday is, I don't know if you guys know, on YouTube you do only get 3 notifications from a specific YouTuber. So I can't upload it on Friday because you'll get more than 3 notifications, and that would make the 4th one. So I'm gonna just do it on Saturday. So every Saturday, or every hopefully a couple of weeks on a Saturday, there should be a new podcast that we've recorded through the week and uploaded, so you guys can just enjoy a nice weekly podcast where, like I say, we talk about Call of Dragons, we get guests on, and we just have a little bit of a conversation. And you know, there's no hard feelings or no harm done, right? So thank you again. I want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you, Scott, in chat. Funny enough, you've got the same name as me. So there's Scott and Scott talking to each other. So thank you guys for, honestly, all the subs, all the support. Thank you for watching the videos. We are always going to be bringing out Call of Dragons videos because honestly, you know, this is what we're here for, you know, this is what we do. All the educational content, have fun as well, get hyped when we need to. Obviously it's a little bit late right now, so I can't go too crazy. But yeah, we're going to finish the stream there. So thank you for the support, thank you for watching, thank you everyone. And until the next one, I'll catch you guys later on.